Big names, big game. The McDonald's High School All-American Game. The stage that shines light on some of the nation's greatest prospects. 2003 featured the King, LeBron James, and his arsenal of Showtime moves. Greatest performance ever? Maybe. Tonight, we'll see which future star can live up to the hype as the greatest high school players take the floor in the 27th annual McDonald's All-American High School Game. The best boys hoopsters in the land are ready to ball in Oklahoma City. The 2004 McDonald's All-American Game here at the Ford Center in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Hi everybody, Dave Pash alongside former McDonald's All-American Tim McCormick and former McDonald's All-American nominee Doug Gottlieb. Sorry, Doug. Tim, more NBA scouts watching this game maybe than ever before.
Yeah, Dave, and I think this has the potential to be the most competitive McDonald's All-Star game in their 27-year history. 9 of the boys are considering a jump directly to the NBA. All 29 NBA teams represented here in Oklahoma City. Now, this game is typically and historically a glamorized dunk contest. Not tonight. These players have NBA dreams. They want to try to showcase themselves, improve their draft status. Now, Doug, one guy that's not worried about his position is Atlanta's Dwight Howard.
Well, I hope you will hold you to that this won't be a glorified dunk contest. But Dwight Howard is a phenomenal basketball player. The Morgan Wooten National Player of the Year award was handed out last night, and it was this guy because he can shoot it, he can pass it, and he has great foot speed. For a youngster, 6'10", can go out on the floor and shoot the ball as well. He is a terrific prospect, and we're going to have a treat to get to see him tonight.
16 McDonald's alumni have been the #1 overall pick, and 2 high school players have been #1 overall before, Kwame Brown and LeBron James. Howard is undecided, but the only thing that's undecided is whether he'll be #1 or #2. Gay signed with UConn, Jefferson with Arkansas, Smith with Carolina, Telfair with Louisville. And the West starting lineup, Aflalo is signed with Kentucky, Hairston is undecided, Livingston signed with Duke, Swift with USC, and Williams with Carolina.
Guys, we have an interesting atmosphere here because, as we said, so many guys are interested in the jump to the NBA. Typically, you see all kinds of slam dunks that are uncontested. One scout told me he has never, ever seen an all-star game practice where so many guys were blocking dunks and really attacking at the defensive end.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see the competitiveness of this game because if you're an NBA guy and you want to draft a high school kid, you're drafting on potential, but the potential not only athletically, but also the potential to make a great competitor out of one of these players.
Here's Bob Flynn, head coach at Cardinal Gibbons School in Baltimore. We're underway in the 2004 McDonald's All-American Game, the 27th game. Presented by McDonald's. Here is J.R. Smith from deep. And Jefferson with a rebound.
J.R. Smith regarded as the best shooter all week long.
Gay is headed to Connecticut to play for Jim Calhoun if he decides definitely to go to Connecticut. And the follow by Al Jefferson, who's been compared to Eddie Curry. Jefferson signing with Arkansas.
You got to be impressed with that one pass on that possession and 3 jump shots.
Sharing the ball. Al Jefferson actually said that he reminds himself of Shawn Kemp when he was with the Sonics. He wanted me to point out it wasn't the fat Shawn Kemp from Orlando.
Pre-NBA lockout shot.
Viewers can enjoy our bottom line coming out of every timeout. Scroll the players, where they've signed and how many points they have in the game. As the 3 goes for J.R. Smith, headed to North Carolina, played for Danny Hurley at St. Benedict's Prep in Newark, New Jersey.
And think about this. Here's a guy with a 44-inch vertical who can also shoot the rock. Think J.J. Redick meets Vince Carter.
I like that.
3 on 2. Howard all the way.
Yeah, that's the thing that impresses me the most about Howard. I asked him, which position will you play in the NBA? Expecting a power forward or center. He said he thinks he can be a small forward with his athleticism. I wouldn't doubt it.
You played in the NBA. Why does nobody want to be a center? You never hear players say, I want to play inside.
Point guards like you just don't dump it inside of it. Sebastian, one of the guys to really keep a close eye on today.
Smith nails that one. The second attempt from about 30 feet, and he's 1 out of 2 from there.
That's called parking lot range. He is open when he steps in the parking lot. What a lineup they will have if everybody returns, including Raymond Felton, Rashad McCants, and Sean May for the Tar Heels.
And what about Marvin Williams, who has been the best athlete, very impressive in the practices.
Got Dwight Howard, his ability to handle the ball on the break.
Not exactly the best defense in the world, but
good point.
Nonetheless, the West coaching staff is going to have to put together some defensive stops here.
Don't you think that if you're going to play in this game, your transition defense will be tested? Swift at the line.
Eddie Birchie, the head coach for the West team, Putnam City High School here in Oklahoma City. Aflalo with the rebound. And Williams out of there with it. Aflalo misses the 3. Kept alive by Hairston. Swift. All he's been doing all week is throwing it down.
Robert Swift is the most improved player here. I had a chance to work with him in June. I thought he was timid and unsure. Now he feels like he's the man, and he's been blocking shots and dunking on people consistently.
Chose Southern Cal over Duke, Texas, Kansas, and UCLA.
Did he credit you for his improvement?
Absolutely not.
But as you watch Robert Swift, here's kind of an interesting tidbit. Henry Bibby went to see his AAU team play when he was in 8th grade, tried to recruit him, thought he was a senior in high school.
The 3 goes for Marvin Williams, who averaged 28 points, 14 rebounds for Bremerton High School in Washington State. He will join J.R. Smith at Carolina next year. They produced the most McDonald's All-Americans, 43 coming into this year. Swift with the rebound off the Howard miss. Here's Sean Livingston, 6'7" point guard, who for now is headed to Duke. What a dish to Swift.
Of all the players that I've seen this week, Sean Livingston is my favorite. He is the most mature, a little bit frail in the body. He's also considering the dunk. I would say that he's probably going to the NBA from what I've seen and heard. 6
points for Swift, and Telfair with his first bucket. Out of Brooklyn, Telfair signing with Louisville.
And he's the guy that Tim said you got to keep an eye on, because how he plays today, how he plays in the rest of the All-Star appearances he makes, including the Hoop Summit down in San Antonio, could determine whether he comes out in the NBA draft.
You know, Doug, he made a really interesting comment. He said, if I'm great in the All-Star games, NBA, if I'm not great, college, pretty good options both ways.
Well, who determines if he's great or not?
He does.
A lot of the scouts have said that they like Livingston better because they think he can run an offense better than Telfair.
Wow.
He also makes some pretty spectacular passes, and look out, J.R. Smith.
You know, if J.R. Smith would have pulled that off in the dunk contest, Candace Parker would not be the dunk champion.
That was the major problem. You know, there is a national hubbub about that dunk contest. How can you let a girl win that dunk contest? Did she really deserve to do so? She made the dunks.
Candace Parker was 5 out of 6. The boys, their field goal percentage was well under 50%.
We're off to a great start here in Oklahoma City. Robert Swift from Livingston. And J.R. Smith with some thunderous dunks and some threes as well for the East squad, which leads by 5.
I decided to make some serious changes. And now Chicken McNuggets are made with white meat. If they can change for the better, so can I.
My friends and enemies, 20.
20 in the house right now!
Barkley, the power.
Nowitzki from downtown.
The past meets the present. Introducing the new Nike 20 collection. Nowhere but Champ Sports. Yes, we're looking to buy a home. Who is it? Wow, that sounds like a really good loan. What's the interest rate on that? On the origination fee? That's about 3 times what people are normally charged. Hello? Hello? Must have been something I said.
When you're knowledgeable, no one can take advantage of you. Get the facts before you borrow. Call the Fannie Mae Foundation for a free guide and a list of lenders and credit counselors.
Women's college basketball's best meet in New Orleans for the Final Four. Coverage begins at 6:30 with LSU versus Tennessee, Minnesota versus Connecticut at 9, Sunday on ESPN.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of the McDonald's Boys High School All-American Game is presented by McDonald's and in part by Harley-Davidson. It's time to ride. And the Fannie Mae Foundation, showing America a new way home.
Back at the Ford Center, you saw the Powerade Jam Fest earlier tonight. Candace Parker winning it. Maybe the guys are seeking retribution after losing in the finals to Parker Doug.
Yeah, so far they are 100% on all their dunks. If they had that percentage, they would be the dunk champ.
Speaking of Candace Parker, she's standing by with our Tim McCormick.
Thanks, Dave. Candace, you have to take us through the excitement of winning the dunk championship. Did you go in expecting to win?
I just tried to go in and get a dunk down, and luckily I actually won it. And I'm really happy.
America wants to meet you. Letterman's calling. Good morning, America. All the shows. How has it been handling all the excitement?
It's been tiring at times. I mean, you know, getting up early and things, but, you know, it's a small burden.
Do you feel like a pioneer, and do you think it's possible 10 years from now we may see the boys and the girls separate dunk contests?
No, I'm really proud of that, and you know, I hope 10 years from now that there's 3-4 girls entering the dunk contest and going for the victory.
All right, congratulations, Candace. And one thing to point out, Dave, she really lived up to her potential. She had 19 points. Many consider her the greatest girls high school player ever.
All right, Tim, she also had 10 rebounds in the girls game. J.R. Smith with 10 points right now to lead the way for the East squad. And here is Daniel Gibson, point guard from Houston, who's set to go to Texas. Telfair ahead to Gay. Rudy Gay, who's set to go to Connecticut in the fall.
Now, here's the problem. You have 2 point guards in the game, and Gibson and Livingston, neither are back defensively. Now, it's nitpicking because it's an all-star game, but when it's about having the feel of a point guard, you always have to be back defensively.
Hairston, who's trying to decide between Kansas, Michigan, Michigan State, UCLA, Oklahoma, Ohio State. Finds Swift. And a foul. Now, Doug, you're a Southern California guy. You got to be pleased with what you've seen out of Swift. We'll get to that in a minute, but first, the Jam Fest from Monday night. Candace Parker winning it, going D. Brown there.
The University of Michigan actually said that he gives her total credit for winning. He can't do a dunk when he closes his eyes like she did.
There's Swift. I've seen many players as good as he is for his size coming out of the Los Angeles area.
The thing about it is, like Tim said, he has improved steadily over time. Talked to him this morning. He said the one thing he really wants to work on before he takes the floor at SC, put on a bit of upper body strength. He's about 245 now, wants to be 260, but he thinks he can add that in the shoulder area to hold that post position, because when he gets it inside, he can pass it out. He also has a very nice spin move. And he likes the fact that USC had Brian Scalabrine, a big guy, by the way, a redhead, who could step away from the basket and shoot the ball. That really attracted him to play for Henry Bibb.
Oh, so you like the correlation between big guys and redheads and success at USC. I like that.
Well, there's also a big redheaded that was fairly successful at UCLA.
And the chief redhead, Ronald McDonald, is in attendance tonight.
Nice.
He's leading by 11, almost 7 minutes in. Mike Williams, who's set to go to Texas, misses the 3. Williams signed to play for the Longhorns in the fall. Howard gets fouled on the rebound, and there's Ronald.
Didn't you think that Ronald's hair looked a little bit like Josh Childress?
Well, not just Josh Childress, but also looks like Sean Livingston.
Both of them.
Yeah.
I'm sensing a dilemma here. These guys are having a tough time making jump shots, but the shot blockers are protecting the rim.
Also, you have guys that aren't normally jump shooters, shooting jump shots.
Dwight Howard Howard off the great feed from J.R. Smith. 6 points for Howard.
As we're watching this game materialize, there's a huge AAU influence. The games are usually transition, and a lot of the NBA scouts say they have a tough job trying to evaluate skills. These guys are phenoms in a fast game, but their half-court skills somewhat to be desired.
Yeah, I mean, you watch the breakaway layup, J.R. Smith, easy alley-oop, Dwight Howard, but that's what's just crazy about the fact that some of these guys are basing whether they're going to come out of high school and go to the NBA on how they play today.
True.
Because how many NBA games have you seen that are up and down and this wide open?
No more. There's the big hair look. He reminds me a lot of Josh Childress, and that guy does not.
Now that is the tallest Ronald McDonald.
He's about 6'5".
Could you post him up still?
He's thin. I
Yes.
think I could.
He's on the low-carb McDonald's diet.
Aaron Afalo going to UCLA. Boy, what a backcourt with he and Jordan Farmar. He wears number 4 because his hero Byron Scott wore that number.
Also, Josh Shipp will join them next year. An outstanding recruiting class with Ben Howland. And Afalo had some interesting comments about his future teammates in a Los Angeles paper when he said, you know, at about mid-season, he didn't think they were competing. He didn't think they were tough enough. And if there's one thing that coaches on the West Coast say about this kid, it's that he is a great competitor.
So Mata is also going to UCLA, so Ben Howland with the Morgan players. And how about Telfair stepping in there?
Was that some defense I just saw in an all-star game? Wow.
Might break out in a rash if I see any more defense.
Telfair winning 3 straight public school championships, the cousin of Stephon Marbury. And one of the reasons that Telfair may go pro is because he wants to get his family out of the area of Brooklyn that he lives. In fact, 2 of his friends were killed in February in the building where he lives from a rough housing project in Brooklyn. So Telfair may, for that reason alone, decide to go for the money.
And Louisville fans can not soon forget Francisco Garcia had his brother shot and killed during the season this year. So very similar home run.
Swift with another dunk. Swift with 10 of the 14 points for the West.
Robert Swift told us today at practice that he's about 90% sure he's going to college unless he gets very dominant in these all-star games. That could change his mind.
First time I've heard very dominant. Isn't dominant just enough?
He's very dominant. He's super dominant.
Jefferson with his 3rd dunk of the day. He's got 8 points. He'll go to the line now to try to convert the 3-point play.
Beautiful feed here. Telfair, they go under the screen. Not a great shooter, but ooh, that is a dime and a half. 15 cents.
And a pick and roll. Now that's a fundamental NBA play that you see a lot.
Jefferson signed with Arkansas, and they need him. They had the worst record in the SEC last year, 4-12 in the league.
And Stan Heath in his 2nd year did struggle, but guys like Ronnie Brewer Jr. are there. They do have some talent. Jonathan Monica also will be back next year. If this guy attends Arkansas, I think there is light at the end of the tunnel.
With that body explosiveness, you might think about Amari Stoudemire.
Gibson misses the 3. Williams with the rebound. Here's Howard. Doesn't get the roll. And Middle State East basketball. So the East has been dominant, leading by 14 points. A great start for J.R. Smith, who's signed with North Carolina. And the alley-oop from Smith to Dwight Howard.
Later on, LeBron James is here, and we'll have this, something like that. Let's just run through it. Yeah, okay. No, I think it's sold out, actually. Let me just start like that. Whoa! Are you guys rolling on this? That's a 90-footer. Oh, that is amazing. Oh, my. Did you get that? You have that, right?
Manhunt by Rockstar Games. They're after you. You're the prey in a deadly game. You must do anything to survive. Can you stop the hunt before you are taken down? PlayStation 2. Coming soon to Xbox and PC, rated M for mature. On April 16th, a man with nothing to live for.
We're really sorry about your family.
Will become a hero.
Don't let your memories kill you.
They can't kill me. I'm already dead. With everything to fight for. Those who do evil to others, you'll come to know me well.
No one's ever stood up for me before.
The Punisher, rated R. In theaters everywhere, April 16th.
Well, that's it. Thank you, everyone.
Really great loan offers. Remember, no points.
Okay.
Bye.
We'll let you know.
I think we got some pretty good mortgage offers there.
Yeah. Of course, we still need to pick a realtor.
The realtors. Sorry about that, guys.
Hey, we got a 4-bedroom.
Now you can find a mortgage and a realtor all in one place. At LendingTree.com, you fill out one form and choose the mortgage and the realtor that's right for you. LendingTree.com.
Back at the McDonald's High School All-America game in Oklahoma City, Robert Swift with kind of the 14 points for the West. Swift signed with USC.
And in the first All-Star game in Chicago last week, he had 17, 12, and 5 blocks. And NBA scouts, when they're looking at players, there's two things primarily they want: feet and hands, and he's very good in both areas.
Well, he goes to USC, and Henry Bibby has himself a fine, but the most difficult thing about playing for the Trojans, finding out your teammates' names. He has Derek and Eric Cravens, one set of twins, and Lodrick and Roderick Stewart, another set of twins. How'd you like to handle that your first day on campus?
Tough, very difficult.
USC also losing its leading scorer, Desmond Farmer.
USC had a disappointing season, but you continue to get big guys like that. We look throughout college basketball, and the landscape of college basketball, so few dominant big fellas that when you have one, if you can get him to stay in school, you're going to be successful.
Jefferson, who signed with Arkansas, and Howard with the follow.
Real tough decision for NBA executives with the 1 or 2 pick. I'm not sure if I take Howard #1. I know he's younger, but I look at Emeka Okafor and think that he's a young Akeem Olajuwon because of his feet and his great tenacity and long arms. I think if I've got the #1 pick, I take Okafor.
In all truth, clear me up if I'm correct, but Akeem Olajuwon wasn't nearly the offensive threat in college that Emeka Okafor is currently.
No, that's the reason I think that Okafor will do nothing but improve. I see him as a 20 and 12 guy throughout his career.
How big is he?
6'10".
Legit?
I think just like Akeem. Akeem was listed at 7 foot. He was only 6'10". And mass substitutions going on here.
Daniel Gibson nails the 3. Gibson from Jesse Jones High School in Houston. Excellent friends with TJ Ford. And they get a chance to play at the same level.
Yeah, and the antithesis of TJ Ford as a point guard going to the University of Texas. He is a scoring guard who has to learn how to run a team a little bit better, whereas TJ Ford did everything at running a team, but not nearly the shooter that Daniel Gibson.
Got a foul before the attempt to throw it off the backboard and get it dunk. Thursday night, a week of madness presented by Harley-Davidson continues with the NIT title game featuring Rutgers and Michigan at 7 Eastern on ESPN.
And how good is Michigan playing, guys?
Pretty good considering it's the NIT. It should be the NC2A tournament with that kind of talent.
That's at 7 Eastern, then at 9 Eastern, the college slam dunk and 3-point contest, all part of a week of madness presented by Harley-Davidson on ESPN.
Tim McCormick, a Michigan alum, trying to get a little plug for his Wolverines.
Nice move by Glenn Davis, the biggest player in this game at 325 pounds. He signed to play with LSU, was recruited by some big-time schools to play football. Miami and Florida State recruiting 34 in white as a defensive end.
Goes by Big Baby, and he has been the key personality in this week's festivity. Loves to dance, loves to have fun, just a jolly big fella. And I think he'll play some college football before he's done, because he doesn't make the NBA. He'll play in the NFL. Look at that body. And the only thing is he too nice? Because he's just a great kid.
Good friends with Shaquille O'Neal, and I asked him, what is the best advice that Shaq's given you? And he said that Shaq told me to leave the knuckleheads alone. Meaning the entourage.
Oh, okay.
That was Shaq's word for it, knuckleheads. DJ White, who signed with Indiana, played for Mike Davis. He's from Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Which is where Mike Davis played his college basketball. Davis originally from the state of Alabama. There's some Some scuttlebutt that he may be the next coach at the University of Auburn. We'll wait and find out about that. But DJ White, a guy who will come in and play immediately and help Racy Wright out. There's just not a lot of talent, not a lot of athleticism in this year's Indiana Hoosiers.
Josh Smith has also signed with Indiana. He's playing in this game, but a lot of people think that he won't get there, that he'll go on to the NBA. Randolph Morris, a 7-footer from Fairburn, Georgia, who is undecided, the basket there.
1270 on his SAT, and he may not go to college. I didn't get a 1270 on my SAT. I'm not going to throw myself under the bus and say what I got, but it wasn't a 1270.
My guess is you and I combined probably didn't get 1270.
No, let's not go that far.
Rondo, who is committed to play for Tubby Smith at Kentucky, doesn't get the role. Davis on the floor. Good play by White to break it up. Let's check in with Tim McCormick. He's with Dwight Howard.
Thanks a lot, Dave. Dwight, what'd you think out there?
I think I'm doing good. I think we got to keep up the intensity, play even harder on defense so we can go up some more.
All right, we were speculating on what you will become as an NBA player. Who's the guy that you watch, and what do you need to work on to become like him?
I watch Kevin Garnett a lot. I think I need to work on my quickness and my agility on defense and offense so I can be an overall better player.
The Morgan Wooten National Player of the Year. What's been the highlight for you this week?
The highlight this week was going down to the Ronald McDonald House and meeting all the less fortunate kids and knowing that I'm blessed to be able to play basketball while they're in the hospital. It was just a real blessing to see what God has brought me out of. So I'm really happy about that.
Dwight, you get that first big paycheck next fall. What's the first thing that you're going to buy?
I'm going to buy my mom and dad a nice car.
All right, very good. Get back there and have fun. And Dave, he's going to make his official announcement on April 12th about the NBA.
Well, when he makes that decision or the announcement to go to the NBA, tell him to put Doug and I on his Christmas list.
Dwight Howard is fabulous. And the ability to handle the ball, play out on the floor. He said he likens himself to a young Kevin Garnett. And I got a chance to play in the Round Ball Classic, then the Magic's Round Ball Classic with Kevin Garnett. And the thing that is similar about these two guys is there is no question who the best players in the country are. You know, some years you have guys that, you know, he could be number one or he could be number one. But when Kevin Garnett came out, remember, this is the year Vince Carter came out, Stephon Marbury, Sharif Abdul-Rahim, Chauncey Billups. Kevin Garnett, despite the fact he didn't even have the build that Dwight Howard had, was clearly the number one player.
20-point lead for the East squad in the McDonald's All-America game in Oklahoma City.
I don't play games. I don't negotiate. I don't stop. I ball. And I don't get them anywhere but Foot Locker.
Baseball is back. It's opening night on ESPN2. Hope springs eternal for the Bo Sox and the O's as these AL East foes square off to start the new season. After a bitter ending to last year's playoff run, Pedro Martinez has Boston recharged for another pennant chase, while Baltimore is looking to its trio of new stars to get them back into contention. Opening night, presented by the Home Depot, Red Sox Orioles, Sunday at 8 on ESPN2.
Pantheon Holding Incorporated, the business opportunity specialists, presents EasyLink, the public access internet terminal, the new state-of-the-art 21st century communication and distribution system. It could be your ticket to financial freedom, owning and profiting from it. Payphones, ATMs, telegrams, money transfers, all obsolete. What's replacing them? EasyLink. They've just been introduced in America, and you can still get in on the ground floor, owning and profiting from it. It's an internet hotspot, prepaid cellular recharge, camera link-up, payphone, and more. It takes credit cards, cash, and coins for you. EasyLink reaches everywhere and will soon be everywhere, offering prepaid phone time, bank cards, short-term loans, and much, much more. The sky's the limit with EasyLink. What a product. What an opportunity. Don't miss out. There are many good areas available, but the best locations go fast. So take advantage of this opportunity today. If you're tired of working for others and long for independence, more free time, and financial security, call for your free package and video now. Attain financial freedom and change your life forever with EasyLink. Call now.
Welcome back to the McDonald's High School All-America boys game in Oklahoma City. The East leading by 20 points. DeMarcus Nelson, who's headed to Duke, coming into the game. And there is a man who once paid Tim McCormick $1 million to sit on the bench with an injury, Matt Riley.
And you look at the guys that were considering the NBA jump. The top 3 names are probable. The bottom 4 are possible, depending on their all-star performances.
And last night we got a chance to listen to Jason Williams at the banquet at IMC, the McDonald's All-American banquet, and he told those players his story. First time in public that he had ever displayed emotion and told the full extent of the story. And it was very, very emotional, especially for him and for anybody who's watching. And he said that, you know, that there's been news reports that said when Jay Williams crashed his motorcycle, the first thing he said was, "I can't feel my legs." He said the first thing he actually said was, "I threw it all away."
Powerful. Joe Crawford, one of the players, said it was the best speech that he's ever heard.
Yeah, I would concur with him. It was amazing.
Another nice move by Randolph Morris, who now has 4 points in the game.
Big decision for Morris. NBA, Georgia Tech, or Kentucky.
Nelson, who is signed with Duke with a pretty move with the left hand. He could battle Sean Livingston, his teammate in this game, for the point guard spot at Duke next year. It's the McDonald's All-America High School Boys game at the Ford Center in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, the 27th McDonald's All-America game. Dave Pasch alongside former McDonald's All-American back in 1980, Tim McCormick, and Doug Gottlieb. Tim, you played in the game in 1980. How is it different today?
Yeah, it's completely different, Dave. In 1980, there was no national TV, no girls game, obviously. And also, these players know each other so well. Many of them have played head-to-head 15 or 20 times. In 1980, I had never met another player in the game. And maybe the biggest difference is that these players are thinking about the NBA. As we mentioned, 9 are considering the jump. Probably the majority are not expecting to be in college a full 4 years. We were more worried about whether we could even play as a freshman in college.
I'll tell you another difference between when you played and now. Look at the length of the shorts. There's no question that those are at least 2.5 times as long as the shorts that you played in.
That's you, what?
Now that's why we brought you here for the analysis.
Thank you.
The fashion critic you.
Here's Jordan Farmar with the ball, headed to UCLA, signed to play with Ben Howland. He was unknown to a lot of the coaches until last summer, and then started to get looks from big-time schools like Florida and Arizona, but elected to UCLA.
Yeah, real interesting. He actually took 2 unofficial visits last season to Gonzaga, and the Zags thought they had him. Spoke with Mark Few, loves his game, said he never has a bad game from the standpoint of, even when he's not hitting his shot, he still finds his teammates, he still runs an offense.
Davis misses the 3. And what a play by Davis, getting on the floor. It'll be East basketball, though. Thursday, a week of madness presented by Harley-Davidson continues with the McDonald's All-American High School girls basketball game at 5 Eastern on ESPN2. All part of a week of madness presented by Harley-Davidson on ESPN2. A chance for those of you that haven't seen Candace Parker, the slam dunk champ in 2004. And she plays in the girls game tomorrow on ESPN2. How about DeMarcus Nelson here, guys? Sacramento broke the California career scoring record.
Dave, he'll remind you a lot of Daniel Ewing. Maybe not quite the shooter, but with the departure of Chris Duhon, he will get an opportunity to play immediately. And let's take a look. This is a good time to get out of the way. They call Glenn Davis Big Baby, and he told me that he still has about 40 pounds to lose. And this is a great weight loss technique. He told me in the summer, what he does is he grabs these big, hefty trash bags, and he pops out a hole for the head and a hole for the arm, and that's his sweatsuit that he uses to lose weight.
He likes to watch bass fishing also, so he's an interesting cat.
Bassmasters owned and operated by ESPN.
Very good done, and a foul by Farmar as he clips Morris on his way to the hoop. And Morris would certainly help a team like Georgia Tech or Kentucky, huh, Doug, if Morris ends up going to one of those schools instead of the NBA.
And here's what's amazing about Georgia Tech. They lose their 2 best big players. Ed Nelson, former freshman of the year in the ACC, transfers to UConn. He's sitting out this year. And Chris Bosh goes to the NBA. And yet they're now in the Final Four without those 2 big fellas. Luke Schencher's come along very, very nicely for the Jackets.
And Randolph said that the fact that they are in the Final Four is really a strong influence on his decision. Randolph Morris is really a good rebounder. He's a natural 10 to 12 every single game.
Now, do you think the fact that Michigan is in the NIT Final Four would help maybe sway him to the Wolverines?
I just want you to know that I had Michigan in my Final Four pool.
But followed by Nelson, who's got 6 points, 5 points for Randolph Morris in the game. Rondo with a tough pass. Here comes Joe Crawford. And Crawford, who's committed to Tennessee, just led Renaissance High School in Detroit to a 27-0 record. And he's committed to play for Kentucky.
Pretty busy weekend for Joe Crawford and his teammate Malik Harrison. On Saturday, they win the Michigan State Championship. They hop on a plane after celebrating all night at 9 a.m., and they've been non-stop all week long.
Now, that's what you like to recruit, though, if you're a Kentucky winners. And they haven't had McDonald's All-American on the last couple years' team. And I think that's one thing they've missed, is they have winners, they have guys that stay in school 4 years, but they lose a lot of talent this year. They lose Gerald Fitch, Cliff Hawkins, Eric Daniels, Antoine Barber, so they need an influx of talent, and they've received it with 2 McDonald's All-Americans here tonight.
The East by 16 points as we near the 4-minute mark. Jarius Washington. Nice pass to Rondo. Washington is committed to Memphis and will likely replace Antonio Burks at point guard for John Calipari.
If John Calipari stays at Memphis, and that's probably one reason he hasn't signed a letter of intent.
$18-point lead for the East squad here at the McDonald's All-America game in Oklahoma City. Back after this.
I'm loving it. What's the deal? Why the grins and eager faces? It's too early for the normal social graces. Is it my smile, my look, or what I say? Hey, I'm not complaining, things are going my way, yeah.
Get things your way with breakfast at McDonald's. With great tasting favorites like the classic Egg McMuffin or the hearty Sausage McMuffin with egg.
McDonald's, the best way to start my day. I'm loving it.
Critics love Scooby-Doo. Bring it. Zoinks, this movie is awesome. Double the excitement of Scooby-1. Fun for the whole family.
Hey!
Scooby-Doo 2, Monsters Unleashed. Rated PG. Now playing.
It was a dark and stormy night. And then he said you and me and
$20,000.
And
I don't have that kind of money.
And I've said it for the last time.
And I'll say it again.
What? There is nothing like a schnauzer. And?
The conversation never ends with and.
Get my point?
And?
Starting with unlimited local and long distance from home. All for one low rate and all on one bill. And brings it all together.
And it worked.
From AT and T.
Don't worry, I'll hook you up.
Reebok Classic Leather Wedge. Available only at Foot Locker.
Oh, man, there's a line.
Dockers Pro Style. Shirts and pants that do it all.
Dwight Howard with 12 points to lead the way, but J.R. Smith, who's signed with North Carolina, having a good first half, shooting the ball from deep.
Yeah, just great range. Also has a 44-inch vertical leap, but has been described as J.J. Redick with Vince Carter athletic ability. And this will be his teammate at North Carolina, Marvin Williams Jr., a guy who coaches around the country just love. And well, if you want to go to the McDonald's game, you might want to sign at the University of North Carolina. They have a tendency to be a feeder system for this game.
Daniel Gibson, another player, almost went to North Carolina, signed with Texas, and LaMarcus Aldridge and Mike Williams, who are headed to Texas, talked Gibson out of going to Carolina. Otherwise, just imagine how good UNC would be next year.
And those two teams faced off in the NCAA tournament. The one thing you can tell about a Roy Williams team, they will have players because he personally goes out and recruits, sits at mid-court so that everybody knows Roy Williams is here to see the best player on the floor.
Yeah, and I hope that Felton and McCants come back. This draft is really starting to emerge as the youngest in the history. 10 high school kids are probable. There's 6 or 7 under 20 from Europe and several college freshmen. Wow.
This dunk attempt by Josh Smith. But Smith is a guy who signed with Indiana and is a guy that might go pro. Tim, where do you think Josh Smith fits into things?
Well, Josh Smith is going pro from what everybody has said. I think that he's a dynamo. When you see him play, you have to immediately think of Dominique Wilkins. He was my favorite in the dunk contest, and I thought that he was a bit too conservative early. He wanted to dunk and advance, and he did, but Candace Parker did a little bit more than he did.
How about their AAU team, the Atlanta Celtics? Dwight Howard, Josh Smith, and Randolph Morris, all on the same team. How'd you like to be an AAU kid from, let's just say, Montana, and in the first round of the Las Vegas tournament, you get matched up against the Atlanta Celtics? That wouldn't be fun.
No, and you would never get a rebound. Actually, Josh says that he has an actual dunking coach, and it's his 2 little sisters, Phoebe and Casola, and they come up with all these crazy dunks that he can't do half of them, but they're always creative for him.
Smith missed the 3, played at Oak Hill Academy, and they were the #1 team in high school basketball this year, and Oak Hill has now produced 20 McDonald's All-Americans, the most of any school.
It's not your average high school. They technically don't recruit, but I mean, they recruit from all over the country. One thing about Rajon Rondo, who is going to attend the University of Kentucky, he's played at Oak Hill Academy, so he knows what it's like to be surrounded by all-stars.
Thursday night, a week of madness presented by Harley-Davidson continues with the NIT title game at 7 Eastern on ESPN. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Rutgers and Michigan tomorrow night at 7 Eastern on ESPN. Smith comes up with a turnover. Rondo fakes the behind the back.
See, I talk about him, and then here he comes. But this is what's interesting. A point guard who averages 12 assists a game this year, and an all-star game is nothing new to him because that's essentially every game at Oak Hill Academy.
And Tubby Smith will love him. His high school coach at Oak Hill, Steve Smith, said that he's the best point guard that he's coached since Rod Strickland.
Well, it'll be interesting competition because Patrick Sparks, a former All-Sun Belt selection from Western Kentucky, transferred, sat out, redshirted this year. He's kind of a local hero. They'll compete for the starting spot at the University of Kentucky.
And whatever happened to Chris Marcus? That's a name from the past.
If Rondo does replace Hawkins, he'll be replacing a guy that set the school record at Oak Hill Academy for career assists. Rondo obviously was a great passer, as Doug said, 12 assists per game this year at Oak Hill.
DJ White for the red team off to a good start. He's going to be at Indiana. Mike Davis desperately needs his toughness. Nice bank shot, huh?
Yeah. Playing horse, see if somebody else shoots a bank shot. That's one of those ones where you hold the fall until you pretend like you meant to bank.
Turnover.
Very slick guard maneuver. You're not used
Sounds like something that you have a lot of history doing.
Yes.
Marcus Aldridge is fouled by Josh Smith. Aldridge, a 7-footer who's committed to play to Texas, and he's been compared to Chris Bosh, another former Texas prep star.
I think that Chris is actually bigger and stronger. And what did the scout tell you about LaMarcus Aldridge?
Told me he could be the most talented member of the McDonald's All-American team when he wants to be, and that's not every day.
On practice day Monday, I saw him. I was impressed because he was the first guy out on the court, and he started doing the Mikan drill. You know that, big guys, you shoot right hand hook, left hand, right hand. And I asked, what are you doing? He said, this is the Mikan drill. And he was very proud, like he knew something really, really special. And I said, do you know anything about the Mikan drill?
Do you know who Mikan is?
Who's Mikan? And he said, who? He had no idea who George Mikan was.
That it was a school.
I think the work ethic is amazing by these players. As Nelson gets stopped by Josh Smith.
What an incredible elevation. My goodness.
Now, if you're going to get to the basket in this game, and you have Josh Smith trailing, you better dunk it.
And that could not have been any better. My. Now, remember, Doug, I told you earlier, that these guys are trying to impress the scouts. Draft status is at stake. This is not your normal all-star game. Well, maybe somewhat.
Washington to Smith. Oh, Josh Smith on both ends of the floor.
Now you can just hear the disappointment in the air coming out of Bloomington.
Meaning he's not going there.
Well, Mike Davis is not going to be a happy camper. Mike, if you're watching, turn off the television set. It's going to be a long evening for you.
And this is what he needed last night in the dunk contest. He still will not acknowledge that he was beaten by a girl last night.
But Candace Parker beat them all as she became the first girl to win the boys slam dunk title.
Joe Crawford from Renaissance High School. There's Josh. You can just cross off that college Indiana. He will not set foot in Indiana unless his NBA team plays a preseason exhibition game at Assembly Hall. And this guy right here spent a lot of time this summer playing 2-on-2 with his teammate Malik Harrison versus a couple of other Detroit prospects, Ricky Paulding and Arthur Johnson from Missouri.
Yeah, Ricky Paulding also played at Renaissance High School. That school's got some athletes coming out of there, huh?
6 points now for Crawford in the game. And last touch by the West.
It's amazing how these players are judged by an all-star game, and athletic moves like we see from Josh Smith will earn them a higher draft stock, where, quite frankly, you don't get a chance to use that in the bumping and grinding that takes place nowadays in the NBA.
You know, Smith, in the scrimmage yesterday, believe it or not, had a block that was even more impressive than what we just saw. And that's hard to believe, because that block got everybody, including Carmelo Anthony, who's sitting 3 people down from us, jumping up and down. Turnover. Nice play defensively by Washington. Nelson scores.
And it'll be interesting to see what happens at Duke. Sean Livingston signed, and he may end up there. Most likely ends up in the NBA. But Duke is a team that revolves around its point guard. And if Marcus Nelson gets a chance to be that starting guard, he will have every weapon available to be successful.
Nelson hammered. How about Farmar and some of the plays that he's making on defense for the West team? Coming up at halftime, feature on the Player of the Year, Dwight Howard. Also, the boys paid a visit to the Ronald McDonald House here in Oklahoma City, and first half highlights coming up. Nelson at the line with 8 points.
You watch, Jordan Farmar will make a dramatic difference at UCLA. You look at some of the teams in college basketball who underachieved this year. You can look no further than the point guard position. Michigan State, UCLA, Missouri, and on down the line.
How do you see that matchup shaping, or that battle shaping up between him and Cedric Bozeman?
Well, Cedric Bozeman was a former McDonald's All-American, but he hasn't shown the work ethic to improve since high school. And that's the big challenge in these kids. Do you get better, or do you rest on your laurels?
Washington commits a charge as Glenn Davis steps in front.
Well, I have now seen it all. A charge taken in an all-star game.
Davis loves it. Smile on his face after this play.
What's that?
He hurt the floor.
Now, I guarantee if the roles were reversed and Davis was coming down the lane, there isn't anybody in this gym that take a charge.
Exactly. With 2 seconds left, Farmer has trouble getting the handle. Hit the shot anyway, but it won't count, and the half is over. Let's check in with Tim McCormick. He's standing by with Robert Swift.
Thanks, Dave. First half production for Robert Swift. Very good for you, very bad for Henry Bibby at USC. The scouts loved your effort. What is your mindset? What are you trying to do to establish yourself?
I'm just trying to go out there and have fun, and you know, I'm really trying to run the floor, work hard, you know, rebound and block shots, you know, do the little things, you know, help my team win.
I think you've helped your status more than anybody else here with your play throughout the week. Coming in here, how do you go about making a decision whether to go to the NBA or go to college?
You know, you got to find good people to help you. Mainly, you know, people that you can trust to give you opinion, give you their opinion and the truth and the facts. And you know, I got good people around me, and you know, I got people that are willing to help me, so it's really helped a lot.
All right, give me a quick rundown. This summer you played against a bunch of NBA guys. Who did you play against, and what was it like?
I played in Las Vegas. I played against guys like Rasheed Wallace and Kwame Brown and Eddie Curry, and you know, it was a very humbling experience, you know, because that just showed me how much more I needed to work to get to that level. And
good job, Robert. Have fun in the second half. It's nice to look somebody in the eyes. And guys, did I just see a charge taken at the end of the first half?
Yes, you did. That was your boy Glenn Davis stepping in front and taking that charge. 10 points, 2 blocks for Robert Swift, who is signed with USC. Coming up, a feature on Dwight Howard, the Morgan Wooten Award winner, Player of the Year in high school basketball. 12 points for Howard in the first half for the East team, which leads by 11.
Chris Vaughn has returned home from the war.
You're looking at a real soldier here, buddy.
But the values he fought for have been betrayed.
This ain't exactly home anymore.
The freedom he defended has been stolen.
Where'd you get the drugs? From the casino.
And a new battle is about to begin.
I'm not gonna let this stand.
I'm gonna fix this town.
This Friday, get ready to walk tall. The Rock.
No more.
Walking Tall. Rated PG-13. Starts Friday at theaters everywhere.
So what can you tell me?
You're wearing a blue shirt. It's corduroy. You have bad posture. It's raining outside. You look confused. Now you look angry.
Real-time information. Bad idea for psychics. Good idea for online trading. With Ameritrade Streamer, you get real-time market information with intraday streaming charts and customized alerts.
Now you're leaving in disgust. I'm good.
Sign up now and get 25 commission-free trades. Plus, get our 5-second guarantee. Go to Ameritrade.com/TV/ or call 888-346-7800.
You're not going to get the ball back unless you rebound, right? And you're going to get a rebound unless you box out. You got to box out. Remember how I showed you? You hold your position with your arms out, right? Get that right there. It's all about the pivot foot. It's all about the pivot, moving to the left, to the right, okay? And keeping your eyes on the ball at all times. That's what it's all about, right? That's how you play defense, okay? All right, D up. 24-0, my ball, okay? I'm winning. All right, throw the ball.
If you had $1 for every time someone needed more money in a fast food restaurant, you'd be rich. Now you can. CashLink Systems will make you the owner of ATM machines in high-traffic, brand-name fast food restaurants. These machines accept all ATM cards and debit cards, and you don't have to stock your ATMs because the cash comes from the restaurant itself. Location owners are happy to have customers with more cash to spend. Everybody wins. We help place your ATMs in brand-name fast food and other high-traffic locations. You make money as much as $1 profit on every transaction. The typical ATM averages 4,000 transactions per month. Whether your location is more or less, it'll provide you an immediate residual monthly income with no employees and virtually no overhead. Great locations are available for a short time. Call immediately. Take the first step to financial freedom. Call now.
Dwight Howard, the leading scorer in the first half with 12 points. Howard is undecided, but is going to the NBA and could very well be the #1 overall pick in the draft. Let's learn more now about Atlanta, Georgia's Dwight Howard. When you call Dwight Howard a big man on campus, it has nothing to do with his 6'11" frame.
Dwight, the person, is extremely exceptional.
Howard is a member of the Future Business Leaders of America, co-president of the student government, co-editor of the yearbook, and a member of the chess club. And oh yeah,
but Howard is there to punch it home.
He's also the best high school basketball player in the country.
What has made him so very special, the coach, is his unique ability to be just a team player. Never seen a guy that's more excited about keeping other people involved in the game.
That positive energy extends off the court as well.
I don't like to see anybody sad, so usually if I see somebody down or out, I say something to make them smile.
It's when you see him go through the early learning center, even though he's a giant in the sight of all of the little children, he gives them a low five. They're giving him the high five.
This coach remembers their first meeting years before Dwight was winning state titles and averaging 25 points per game.
First time I saw Dwight Howard, he was 6 years of age. He was a little skinny kid with a big smile and, you know, just with a basketball in his hand.
In kindergarten, I just used to go outside and put cones or chairs or whatever I could find and dribble around the cones with either hand, my eyes closed.
And 12 years later, the kid still lives inside Dwight.
People might be surprised to know how goofy he is, how he has a great sense of humor.
One of his favorite pastimes is impressions, like this one from Finding Nemo.
Just keep swimming. La, 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 la.
But don't be fooled, Dwight Howard can be a very serious young man.
I said back in 9th grade that I wanted to be the best player in the nation by the time I was a senior. And so from then on, I started working out to be the best player that I could be.
And one key to his success is that Dwight Howard takes nothing for granted.
Every day I get in the gym, I treat it as my last day in the gym, so I just work hard as I can that day.
And Howard has spent a lot of early mornings working out with Tim McCormick lately. And speaking of Tim, he's standing by right now with a special guest.
Thanks a lot, Dave. I'm here with Marty Coyne, who's the vice president of Ronald McDonald House Charities. The boys and the girls both acknowledged the highlight of their week was visiting the kids. Can you explain a little bit what goes on in a visit to the Ronald McDonald House?
Part of the heritage of McDonald's All-American game is giving back to the community. And we take each of the players to the Ronald McDonald houses in Oklahoma City and Tulsa. And they sign autographs, they meet the family, and they just let the families know they care. And it's a blast for everybody.
Marty, this has been a very beneficial week. How has this game helped Ronald McDonald House?
This game tonight will raise over $300,000 for Ronald McDonald House Charities of Oklahoma City and Ronald McDonald House Charities of Tulsa. And this is the 30th anniversary of our first Ronald McDonald House in Philadelphia. Since then, we have served over 10 million families.
Thank you for all of your good work, Marty. And after the break, we'll have a chance to show the boys really having as good a time as the kids at the Ronald McDonald House.
Video is my thing. I'm always looking for all the action. Finding the right moments, the right shot, the best angle. I need something to capture my attention. I need the right motivation. Hey, how can I not get inspired with these new chicken McNuggets from McDonald's? Now made with white meat, they're so good it's hard for me to stay focused. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
I'm going all out, crushing like raw greed. Feel the force and the power of my energy. It's like a sunstorm, a straight cyclone, setting the world on fire like a hole in the ozone. It's going down. Paul Pierce gonna show you how. Got my 20 coming at you like wow.
The past meets the present. Introducing the new Nike 20 collection. Nowhere but Foot Locker.
Missouri, 1,500 miles.
Another woman telling me what to do. At the Johnson family reunion, boys will be boys.
Cheater! #1. You've been doing that since we was little. See that, mama?
And the women will never let them forget it.
We should get a trophy for being married to these men.
You ain't ever beat me. I was even potty trained before you.
This spring, the Johnsons will need a vacation.
New truck, huh?
Yeah. From their vacation, Johnson Family Vacation, rated PG-13.
Stop that fight!
Starts Wednesday, April 7th.
We were held hostage for hours when these guys just stormed in. I don't know where they came from or who they were. I just know the only people left alive were us and them.
Tom Clancy's Rainbow 6-3, rated M for mature.
Want to take off? Enterprise Rent-A-Car has takeoff weekend specials from $9.99 a day. That's Friday to Monday, just $9.99 a day. So take off this weekend. Log on to enterprise.com or call 1-800-RENT-A-CAR.
It's halftime at the McDonald's All-American High School Boys game here at the Ford Center in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Net proceeds from today's game will benefit Ronald McDonald House Charities of Oklahoma. And earlier in the week, the boys got to see firsthand the children and families they are helping. Glenn Davis and Sebastian Telfair were among those getting into the spirit as the East and West squads visited and signed autographs at Ronald McDonald houses and children's hospitals in Oklahoma City and Tulsa. The West's Jordan Farmar even entertained the kids with a juggling exhibition. All told, more than $3 million has been raised since the All-American game was first played in 1978. Coming up next, first half highlights from the McDonald's All-American boys game here in Oklahoma City.
Tonight on SportsCenter, who will be the kings of the West? Why Okafor's injuries might be a good thing, and how bad is it in Beantown? Plus, heavy hitters you don't know. SportsCenter after the game, ESPN.
Hey, Gianni, what's up, baby? Hey, shh, I got a little secret for you. G-R-B, G-R-B, G-R-B. I play ESPN Major League Baseball. I am the man. I got the knuckle curve ball, I got the palm ball, and I got the circle change. And I also got the spaghetti and meatball ball. Zzz, ball, beep, boom.
Rated E for everyone. America's #1 movie is Scooby-Doo 2.
Give me 5.
It's got brains and a big heart.
Seems as if I've become ludicrously intelligent.
What? History Inc. does it again, this time better than ever. Scooby-Doo 2, Monsters Unleashed. Rated PG.
Hey, I can't believe you cooked.
Yeah.
That's so nice of you.
I'm excited for dinner.
Dockers Pro Style. Shirts and pants that do it all.
Friday, a suicide victim leaves a note that could destroy the DA's marriage and his career.
I'm suppressing it as a sensitive document.
And that's just for starters.
What is in that note?
An all-new DA ABC Friday, 10/9.
America's national pastime is now available on Dish Network Season Ticket, MLB Extra Innings. Get over 1,000 regular season out-of-market games for only $149 or 3 payments of $49.67. That's under 15 cents a game. Don't wait. The early bird package is available now through April 18th. For a limited time, catch a free preview of MLB Extra Innings on channels 625 through 639. Bring the heat, baby. Call 1-800-333-DISH, 1-800-333-3474, and order now.
America's favorite home gym is more affordable than ever. Now you can get the all-new Bowflex Extreme for just $19 a month. That's less than most health club dues. Great results are easy. Just one simple workout, 20 minutes a day, 3 times a week to get in awesome shape. Powerful arms, defined legs, and a toned, sexy core are just a phone call away. Call us for a free DVD or video, or visit us online to get a real Bowflex for just $19 a month today.
East by 11 at halftime as we check in once again with Tim McCormick.
Thanks a lot, Dave. I'm here with Patricia Morris, and her little baby, 6'11", 270 pounds, is out there doing a great job. What are your thoughts of Randolph's performance in the first half?
I think he did a great job, and all the other boys, too. We're just having fun.
Now, you have some tough decisions as a family. Georgia Tech, Kentucky, NBA. How do you go about weighing the offers and the decisions for his future?
Well, both of them are great schools, and it would be a plus to be close to home, but it's a lot left up to Randolph, and whatever is best for him, maturity-wise, we're just trying to weigh those options.
Now, I want you to share a story. Back when he was a sophomore, he had a chance to tell his goals. He told you he wanted to be a McDonald's All-American. You said it's time to go to work. What exactly was your game plan?
We would wake up every morning about 4 o'clock, go to the gym by 4:30 a.m., and it would open about 5. We would work out. We would do layups. I didn't do the layups, but I'd pass the ball to him. He'd do the layups, and whatever the coach said he needed to work on is what we'd work on in the gym.
Congratulations. You've done a great job. You could be a coach maybe, and your son is definitely a class act. Dave, let's go back to you and Doug back at the table.
All right, Tim, appreciate that, and she should be very proud. Morris is a terrific player, trying to decide between Georgia Tech and Kentucky or the NBA draft, and he's obviously a smart kid. We talked about earlier, 1270 on his SATs, but he was not the best big man in that first half. That was Dwight Howard.
Yeah, Dwight Howard was simply phenomenal, and look, he's the high school player of the year, won the Morgan Wooten Award last night at the banquet, and here's why. I mean, he can flat out play, he can pass the basketball, and finding guys like J.R. Smith. Look at the range. That is NBA range, and then Smith with the 360, and then Smith gives it back to his teammate Dwight Howard. Just terrific play, you know, in the open floor from these guys. And you can see the type of athleticism that NBA scouts drool over. Robert Swift was also a big story. He was dominant inside, just being active, keeping the ball high, and playing hard. It's one of the most interesting improvement stories in this game. A guy who has come along incrementally, has improved, and now is a star. Could go to the NBA just on the basis of how he's played tonight.
Swift is signed with USC, had 10 points in the first half. There's Howard, who had 12 points. He's undecided, but again, the only thing that's undecided on him is where he'll be drafted, number 1, number 2, or number 3. Sebastian Telfair with the basketball. He is signed to play at Louisville for Rick Pitino, but he's another guy that could enter the NBA draft. However, he turns it over there. Good play by Marvin Williams to step in front. Williams on the other end, and Jefferson clears. J.R. Smith overshoots Howard there on the alley-oop attempt.
Perfect example of knowing what your strengths are and playing to your strengths. J.R. Smith, you're a scorer. Take that ball to the bucket. 5
players going to the SEC, and those 5 have combined for 25 points to lead the way amongst the conferences. J.R. Smith, another 360. Which one was better?
Seen it before.
If you're looking for a comparison, I look at J.R. Smith, and I'm reminded of Jimmy Jackson when he was at Ohio State, maybe even a better dunker.
Smith has an average vertical leap of 44 inches.
Well, he's got some work to do in the weight room if he wants to look like Jim Jackson, but his jump shot is pure, and yes, you're right, he's got some serious spring in the play.
How about Dwight Howard nailing the 3?
And now you're starting to see that feel, the ability to step out on the floor. We saw his handle, now his jump shot. This is why scouts continue to salivate.
15 points for Howard in the game. Out of the corner, Nelson. And Jefferson with the rebound. What do you guys think about Telfair and what he can do going to the NBA immediately as opposed to going to college?
Well, he has been hyped since he was in elementary school. Remember, he is Stephon Marbury's little cousin. Bob Gibbons, America's top talent evaluator, said this: he has roadrunner speed and globetrotter flair. I think that sounds pretty good.
Telfair wearing 12 in red. Brooklyn, New York, Abraham Lincoln High School.
Question is, can he run a team and can he shoot the basketball? And we haven't found out either of those questions, or they haven't been answered yet tonight.
Al Jefferson, who signed with Arkansas, throws it down. Jefferson averaging 42 points per game in high school this year.
Think about that. You have 37, you're 5 points below your average. You had a bad night.
That's right.
His high games this year, listen to these numbers: 62 points, 27 rebounds. J.R. Smith, once again, I like it. And this is the incredible number. He had 27 blocks in a game, Al Jefferson.
J.R. Smith with 14 points. Seen a lot of dunks from Smith tonight. Here's the earlier 360.
Now, I thought you told me, Tim, that this wouldn't be a glorified dunk contest.
Well, in transition, how many times have you seen guys...
There is nobody back. This is just layup line.
No, I'm not impressed with the transition defense, but I am impressed with how many guys have tried to block dunk shots so far.
Gay ahead to Smith, who's cherry picking again.
Well, where was the block there?
Oh, there was no block.
Where was the charge taken?
All right, maybe I was
Where's
wrong.
the competitiveness that you said you promised America? This is going to be the most competitive McDonald's All-American game ever.
Well, it's
Tim McCormick, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I said it's going to be
Send your emails to
competitive
ESPN.com.
as guys are trying to showcase their skills for the NBA scouts. I never said anything about the score.
A follow from deep. And Jefferson with a rebound. Tim, you had an opportunity to work out with Dwight Howard. I know one thing's for sure, you did not teach him how to shoot from behind the arc.
I did not, but Dwight Howard this summer, I spent a week with him at the NBA Players Association Top 100 camp, which is for the top 100 kids in the country. And he came to me the first night of camp and said, I'd like to meet you before breakfast tomorrow. Will you help me with my post moves? That just blew me away. 5 straight mornings, we worked out at 7 a.m. He's a great kid. He's skilled like Tim Duncan, and I think he's sneaky strong like David Robinson. And I can promise you this, Doug, I don't know about the dunks and the transition defense. Dwight Howard will be a major star.
what separates him in terms of being athletic and being able to handle the ball, but in the low post? Because you have so many of these guys who want to step away from the basket and shoots the ball. He's played in the NBA. What's he need to do, or what does he do that separates him as a post player?
His fundamentals, Doug, are without question phenomenal. He uses his right and his left hand in the low block. He is very strong. When I said he's sneaky strong like David Robinson, let's pause for a second. All right, back to the story. When I played against David Robinson, you could try to hold him off. He looked skinny, he didn't look strong, but he was very wiry. And I had a chance to cover Dwight Howard, too. They've got the same body type.
We're talking about the same David Robinson with the chiseled arms. Look like they're chiseled out of granite.
Yeah, and look at Dwight Howard. You're going to see the same body from him.
No, but you called him wiry. There is nothing wiry.
Sinewy might be a better way to...
Sinewy.
There you go. We got a timeout called by the East. Timeout called, huh? 15:21 to go. The dunks of the game are coming up. Here's a preview. J.R. Smith.
Later on, LeBron James is here, and we'll have this, something like that. Let's just run through it. Yeah, okay. No, I think it's sold out, actually. Let me just start like that. Whoa! Are you guys rolling on this? Yeah. That's a 90-footer. Oh, that is amazing. Oh, my. Did you get that? You have that, right?
And Malone is racing his team back down the field.
Throwing Mario Bailey. Touchdown, Frankfurt.
Go out here and see why I'm the top.
Dante Hall's going to do it again. The human joystick.
Adam Vinatieri with the money on the table. Bangs it through.
See tomorrow's NFL Stars today. Watch NFL Europe.
My friends and enemies, 20.
20 in the house right now.
Barkley for power.
Nowitzki from downtown.
The past meets the present. Introducing the new Nike 20 collection. Nowhere but Champ Sports.
A-Rod and pinstripes, Steinbrenner's unbelievable. Who'd you take, Shaq or Yao? Shaq's the man, but Yao's really shown me something. I don't like the DH, but it's hard to imagine baseball without it. My head is with Tiger, but my heart is with Daly.
This is Mike and Mike in the morning on ESPN Radio. Trade talks dominate the news.
ESPN Radio. Get your radio on.
J.R. Smith, who signed with North Carolina to play for Roy Williams, stealing the show. As we look at the dunks in the second half, there's Al Jefferson. Here's Smith. Smith again.
Well, you have a 44-inch vertical, you better use it in the game, and he's gotten plenty of use of those disgusting hops.
Now, if everybody stays at North Carolina,
unbelievable.
Does Smith replace somebody in that lineup, or does he come off the bench?
Well, I mean, you look at the mainstays, and that's Raymond Felton, Rashad McCants, Sean May. Those three guys will be in the lineup. Then you got Marvin Williams Jr. coming in, as does J.R. Smith. And Roy Williams is a guy who loves a deep bench. And that's what he had at Kansas when they were very successful. And that's what he'll have at Carolina.
That's what he didn't have this year.
Yeah, and that's you better bring your lunch bucket. Because practices will be competitive, and they will be murderous as far as guys who don't bring it on a day-by-day basis.
That's going to be a fun team to watch next year. Good play by Aldridge. And Farmar missed the shot. Farmar is signed with UCLA. Last touch by the East team. Farmar in the West down by 26 to the East of the McDonald's All-America game in Oklahoma City.
They changed the McNuggets, you know. Why change McNuggets? Who changed the McNuggets? I love McNuggets. McNuggets don't need to be changed. If you're gonna change something, change broccoli.
change is good.
McDonald's new Chicken McNuggets are now made with white meat. Come on in, you'll love the change.
It was a dark and stormy night. And then he said you and me and
$20,000.
And I don't have that kind of money.
And I've said it for the last time.
And I'll say it again.
What?
There is nothing like a schnauzer.
And?
The conversation never ends with and.
Get my point?
And?
Starting with unlimited local and long distance from home, all for one low rate and all on one bill. And brings it all together.
And it worked.
From AT and T.
The New England Patriots have won one of the greatest Super Bowls of all time. Patriots take the lead! Relive the thrills of the Patriots' exciting championship season with Sports Illustrated and the great new NFL Films DVD, the New England Patriots Super Bowl 38 champions. Plus, this special Sports Illustrated hardbound commemorative. This individually numbered classic offers an inside look at the Patriots' second great Super Bowl season. Both are free with your paid subscription to Sports Illustrated, giving you 56 issues for only $1.59 an issue. Save over 50% off the cover price.
Touchdown, Patriots!
This Wilson Super Bowl football, designed exclusively for Sports Illustrated, is also free when you use your credit card. You can't get this one-of-a-kind collectible anywhere else. Call now. You'll get all 3 great Patriots collectibles free. Don't miss your chance to celebrate the NFL champion New England Patriots with this fantastic Super Bowl package, available exclusively from Sports Illustrated. Call now.
Welcome back. East by 26. A lot of great dunks. Carmelo Anthony knows about dunks, the 2002 Slam Dunk champion. We had a girl win it. Would you have ever let a girl beat you in a dunk contest?
No, I wouldn't. No, but I seen the highlights, and she did a great job. Just want to congratulate her on this year and our future.
Carmelo, you had a chance to experience the best of both worlds. You went to college, had a chance to win a national championship, then to the NBA, had 41 points last night. What advice would you have for these guys that are thinking of jumping directly to the NBA?
Well, college is fun. I had a lot of fun in college. My 1 year, I won a national championship, but I know a lot of people saying college, you got to go to class and wake up early, work out, but there's a lot more to come in the NBA also.
You had a game last night, as I mentioned, 41 points. It's really a nice tribute to the McDonald's All-American game that on your off night, you came here to support the McDonald's All-American game. What memories do you have of when you played in this classic?
Well, I played with a lot of people. Amari Stoudemire, as everybody knows, Raymond Felton, Rashard McCanson, a lot of other guys. We just had a lot of fun throughout the whole week, visiting around the McDonald House and charities. And overall, we just had a great time.
Dwight Howard, Sebastian Telfair, Josh Smith, as they get ready for the NBA, would you give them any advice on what the league is like to you?
Well, like I say, it's tough. It ain't as easy as it seems on TV.
Thanks a lot for joining us. Thanks for coming tonight, and good luck down the stretch.
All right, Tim.
Thank you. All right, Dave, back to you.
All right, Tim and Doug, I guess the blueprint for a guy that wants the best of both worlds is Carmelo Anthony. Go win a national title in 1 year and then be the 3rd pick in the draft the next year.
Thought the NBA was difficult. He had 41 last night. Somebody get that guy some ice for the elbow.
Glenn Davis, who is signed with LSU, 6'8", 325-pounder, now with 7 points in the game.
The true sign of a quality backboard is the ability to support Glenn Davis.
And you look at players named something other than LeBron James and you see how they've struggled this year.
Yeah, it's kind of the untold story about the NBA. You see LeBron James, you think, that can be me. I can be successful. However, you also see how difficult it is for some of these players. Matter of fact, there was some McDonald's All-American from last year who had a bit of disappointing seasons and maybe didn't live up to their reputation. So it's not as easy as it looks, like Carmelo said on TV.
Darius Washington, who signed with Memphis, misses the shot. Davis trying to fire one in there to McClellan, and it goes off the leg of an East player.
Yeah. My favorite player here, personality-wise, is Glenn Davis. He is regarded as an NFL prospect, and I said, well, how come you're playing basketball at LSU? And he said, well, you know, look at my beautiful face. You can't put a helmet on this thing.
Neither Doug and I really agree, so we're not going to say anything publicly.
I just want to know, it's a large helmet. It's just a large helmet to put on. He is a large man, and despite the fact that he'll play basketball in college, a lot like Tony Gonzalez, he'll still have the opportunity to play football in the NFL.
L.J. Shelton, who plays for the Cardinals, he's an offensive lineman, played a lot of basketball, the son of Lonnie Shelton. And so a precedent has been set for guys to play hoops and then go to the NFL.
Did you break out an Arizona Cardinals reference on us?
Probably the first and the last on ESPN basketball, anyway. Josh Smith showing his guard-like skills, nailing the triple.
Now that's why NBA scouts love this guy, the ability to be a 3 in the NBA. And Tim, is it at all disappointing that you don't see big guys who really want to play with their back to the basket?
I agree. But how about playing with your back to the basket and your face at the rim? Josh Smith is just a sick athlete, and he follows Tracy McGrady. I agree with you, though. If you can go inside and become a force with your back to the basket, you become unstoppable. Perfect example, Michael Jordan. He became one of the top 3 post guys with his back to the basket, along with Patrick Ewing and Hakeem Olajuwon.
Aldridge from McClellan. Aldridge committed to Texas. McClellan has signed with Arizona.
Number 32, Joe Crawford. Starting replacing number 2, Billy Carriston.
To Memphis, beautiful delivery. He is signed to play for the Memphis Tigers.
Yeah, we did receive word at halftime that he is signed. He's not just committed to play for John Calipari.
Washington tried to throw it off the backboard, and it will go to the West. Well, Thursday, a week of madness presented by Harley-Davidson continues with a McDonald's All-American High School girls basketball game at 5 Eastern on ESPN2. A great opportunity to check out Candace Parker, who won the slam dunk contest the other night here at the Powerade Jam Fest.
Would you agree, Tim, she's the best female dunker either you or I have laid our eyes on?
I have never seen a greater dunker as a girl than Candace Parker. And the thing that makes it even more incredible, 8.5 months ago, she tore her ACL. So those dunks that you saw on ESPN SportsCenter were off an injured knee. She's not even close to 100%.
One of 5 players in that game going to Tennessee. And you talked earlier about getting out of the way when Glenn Davis comes down the lane. Josh Smith wasn't listening.
That is definitely my hustle award. How about Josh Smith? The second charge we've seen taken, and he takes it on big Glenn Davis, all 325 pounds.
Babyface.
There's Candace Parker. When we come back, we'll show you more of these dunks by Candace Parker at the Powerade Jam Fest.
I decided to make some serious changes. And now Chicken McNuggets are made with white meat. If they can change for the better, so can I.
I don't play games. I don't negotiate. I don't stop. I ball. Let's do it. Don't tell them nothing. These ain't about nothing. They don't care what the and I don't get them anywhere but Foot Locker. You know they frontin' girlies up in that place.
Manhunt by Rockstar Games. They're after you. You're the prey in a deadly game. You must do anything to survive. Can you stop the hunt before you are taken down? Out now on PlayStation 2. Coming soon to Xbox and PC. Rated M for mature.
America's favorite home gym is more affordable than ever. Now you can get the all-new Bowflex Extreme for just $19 a month. That's less than most health club dues. Great results are easy. Just one simple workout, 20 minutes a day, 3 times a week to get in awesome shape. Powerful arms, defined legs, and a toned, sexy core are just a phone call away. Call us for a free DVD or video, or visit us online to get a real Bowflex for just $19 a month today.
The Powerade Jam Fest in Oklahoma City a couple of nights ago. Josh Smith, who didn't even make it to the finals, and J.R. Smith was the leading scorer in our game tonight with 16 points. Candace Parker stole the show, the future Tennessee Lady Vol, winning the slam dunk contest. Joe Crawford trying to stay alive. We saw a lot of missed dunks. And Parker, thanks to a D. Brown-like jam, wins the slam dunk contest in 2004.
And you may remember her brother, Anthony Parker, played at Bradley and the Philadelphia 76ers.
I actually got a chance to play against him in Israel. Played for Maccabi Tel Aviv, one of the premier teams in Europe. Terrific score.
Aldridge trying to tip it in and rebounded by Smith. Guys, when the mini scouts come to these games and watch, what are some of the things that they're looking for in particular?
It's interesting because you think that it's shooting or blocking out. No, the NBA scouts I talked to said they're looking for self-starters. LeBron, Carmelo, KG, some of those guys have a really high energy level. Some of the players that have been disappointments like Eddie Curry, Tyson Chandler, Kwame Brown are low energy guys.
I also think that it's so difficult to tell from this short time you get a chance to see them. What I would look for is those fundamentals. You talked about Dwight Howard, the ability to shoot with both hands around the basket, the ability to pass the basketball, because as a rookie in the NBA, you're going to do a lot more passing and defending than you are shooting the rock.
When you talk about Carmelo, he had 41 last night. He's the kind of guy that he wakes up every morning and can't wait for a challenge. I think that's what they're talking about when they say high energy.
Yeah, but I would say a lot of these guys are overvalued right now because of the Carmelos and LeBrons and those type of successes, whereas we forget about some of these guys, but it's taken them 3-4 years, Jermaine O'Neal, to even be successful in the NBA.
The 5 McDonald's All-Americans from last year's game that left early, LeBron is the only one that's doing anything at all.
Glenn Davis with the basket, now 9 points for him. Crawford trying to hang and had his shot blocked. Here is a Malik Hairston who met Magic Johnson on his recruiting trip to UCLA, and Magic tried to get him to go to Michigan State.
Talk about your all-time backfire.
Morris blocked that shot.
Did you see that defense there, Doug?
It was a mistake.
Rondo inside for a deuce. Rajon Rondo is committed to play for Tubby Smith in Kentucky. 6 points now for Rondo.
Neat story. Rajon left Kentucky, and at the time he was only being recruited by low Division I schools. Became the point guard on the best team in America, and his stock has absolutely skyrocketed.
And that's what prep schools are able to do for kids, is they go and they play around, being surrounded by great talented players, and they have to perform on a night-by-night basis.
Well, Thursday night, a week of madness presented by Harley-Davidson continues with the NIT title game pitting Michigan against Rutgers at 7 Eastern on ESPN, followed by the college slam dunk and three-point contest at 9 Eastern on ESPN. All part of the week of madness presented by Harley-Davidson on ESPN.
Jawan McClellan is going to Arizona. Had a neat story working out with his dad this summer. They would wake up at 6 a.m., hit the weights. He added 10 pounds of muscle. And then his father, George, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday after work, they would do sprints, shooting, and free throws. One of the most prolific scorers in the state of Texas.
Well, McClellan's going to have some other athletes around him in Arizona. The Wildcats had a very disappointing season this year. Young squad, but they need more guys that are going to buy in, play defense, play team basketball. And the scouting report on him is not only is he talented, but he likes to play defense. He likes to share the rock.
Arizona just 6-6 in its last 12 games, but does return top 3 scorers, including Mustafa Shakur and Hassan Adams, former McDonald's All-Americans. That's if Adams doesn't go pro. Sebastian Telfair back into the game. 9 assists so far for Telfair. Good play defensively by Farmar. And Nelson is fouled. Marcus Nelson, who signed with Duke.
What are your thoughts, Tim, on Telfair so far?
Well, Sebastian is sort of an enigma player. He's very talented. He has a huge reputation. I think it's a lock that he's going to the NBA. But you're right. You mentioned earlier that people question a couple things. Can he make a jump shot? He is really great with his handle, and shared a story with me that really kind of illustrates the problems. When he was 8 years old, he would go to the local playground that they call the Garden, and he'd watch his cousin, a 17-year-old kid, ready to be a McDonald's All-American named Stephon Marbury. Now, this punk little kid would always stand on the sideline and wouldn't get to play with the older kids. He was only 8 years old, so he would dribble the basketball. He said that at midnight they would turn the lights off and tell everybody to go home. That's the only time that he would get a chance to shoot, so he grew up shooting in the dark. No wonder he can't make jump shots.
See, some people shoot the lights out. Other people shoot with the lights out.
It'd be amazing if you could shoot them on, huh?
But the good thing is that with Sebastian, he's a good athlete. He plays hard, and I think he's going to get better.
Well, he's got to get better if he wants to play in the NBA. But you look at Jameer Nelson, who is the premier point guard in college, the player of the year. I got a chance to see him play last week. I mean, just light years difference in the 4 years in college between he and Sebastian Telfair.
McDonald's High School All-America game here at the Ford Center in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Dave Pash, Tim McCormick, and Doug Gottlieb.
Guys, to finish up on Telfair, the scouts that I've talked to this week, they like his potential. They love his potential if he goes and plays for Rick Pitino for a couple years and perfects his craft. If you play for Pitino, you get in great shape. And also with Taekwon Dean last year, they didn't have a true point guard. He's more of a 2 than a 1. If you give the ball to Telfair, let him play 2 years of college basketball, you're talking about a major star in the NBA down the road. If he goes now, probably late first round, and who knows how much he plays.
Yeah, and you look at his cousin, Stephon Marbury, when he played at Georgia Tech. Remember, he had Drew Berry with him, who's actually the all-time assist leader at Georgia Tech, so he could concentrate more on scoring and truly running the offense. They had a great year, won the ACC, and I think that would be appropriate because he has the talent to play at the next level, but he just doesn't have the altogether game yet.
Speaking of the ACC, J.R. Smith, who's headed to North Carolina, has dropped 3 bombs on us, 3 deep triples, crying for a 4th. Won't get it.
Yeah, and after the last one, he sent some love over to Carmelo Anthony, who's sitting courtside.
19 points now for J.R. Smith in this game. 2-on-2. Now, guys, there's been talk that maybe 12 guys from this game will go to the NBA. How many do you think?
Two more since we began the game. It was 10 in the pregame meeting.
I had talked to a couple of scouts as J.R. Smith drills another deep one. A couple of scouts are saying before the game, Carmelo loves it, that there might be 12 guys that go pro.
Well, there's 12 that have considered. I spoke to them at shoot-around. 9 are thinking about it, and there are 2 or 3 other players that are not in this game. And talk about incredible range. J.R. Smith, regarded by the scouts here as the premier shooter. And there you saw the love to Carmelo.
Where that is from.
That is sick. Sick range.
Now, does he go pro just because of this game?
No, he's going to North Carolina. He's already said that.
We've seen guys, think twice about it after a game like this.
No,
he's got 22 points. He's hit 5 from about 30 feet.
That's how crazy this is. You have one game in front of the scouts. You have one great weekend. And granted, the kid can obviously play. He can shoot it. He's an incredible athlete. But you don't think 2 years under Roy Williams, look at the success that a Paul Pierce has had playing 3 years under Roy Williams at Kansas. I mean, to me, I understand the philosophy that you get in now so that you get the next paycheck early, but that next paycheck may not come unless you're a talent like a Dwight Howard.
Look, this is my stance. I'm all for guys getting paid, but NBA stands for no boys allowed. And when you get to the NBA, you've got to be developed. Carmelo Anthony was developed when he got to the league, and his 1 year at Syracuse helped him grow so much as a player.
Right now on his phone telling everybody about Dwight Howard's 17 points and the 5 threes that J.R. Smith has hit from well beyond NBA range. Here's the last jam by soon-to-be 1st or 2nd overall pick, Dwight Howard.
Just go gadget arms, just the ability to extend and finish over Robert Swift, who is all of about 7 feet as well. So he just has great feet, great hands. And the most impressive thing is the vision, Tim. The ability to find a teammate when he's double-teamed, whether it's in high school or at the AAU level. When he plays in the NBA and he becomes a star, you have to be able to kick that ball out and find the open man off the double team.
Darius Washington, who led his high school Edgewater to a 29-2 record. He's averaged better than 30 points per game each of the last 2 years.
One of those 2 losses went on ESPN to Sebastian Telfair's Lincoln High School team.
Howard with another jam. And the East team has hit the 100-point mark. Turnover by the West. J.R. Smith has been unbelievable. 22 points. A handful of threes in this game, impressing everybody, including Carmelo Anthony.
Women's college basketball's best meet in New Orleans for the Final Four. Coverage begins at 6:30 with LSU versus Tennessee, Minnesota versus Connecticut at 9, Sunday on ESPN.
Don't worry, I'll hook you up.
Reebok Classic Leather Wedge, available only at Foot Locker. Baseball is back. It's opening night on ESPN2. After a bitter ending to last year's season, Pedro Martinez has Boston recharged for another pennant run. Opening night presented by the Home Depot. Sunday at 8 on ESPN.
Pantheon Holding Incorporated, the Business Opportunity Specialists, presents EasyLink, the public access internet terminal, the new state-of-the-art 21st century communication and distribution system. It could be your ticket to financial freedom, owning and profiting from it. Payphones, ATMs, telegrams, money transfers, all obsolete. What's replacing them? EasyLink. They've just been introduced in America, and you can still get in on the ground floor, owning and profiting from it. It's an internet hotspot, prepaid cellular recharge, camera link-up, payphone, and more. It takes credit cards, cash, and coins for you. EasyLink reaches everywhere and will soon be everywhere, offering prepaid phone time, bank cards, short-term loans, and much, much more. The sky's the limit with EasyLink. What a product. What an opportunity. Don't miss out. There are many good areas available, but the best locations go fast. So take advantage of this opportunity today. If you're tired of working for others and long for independence, more free time, and financial security, call for your free package and video now. Attain financial freedom and change your life forever with EasyLink. Call now.
Rudy Gay, 6'9", from Baltimore, signed to play at Connecticut, has 10 points, hit a couple of threes in this game, and what a front court Connecticut could have next year.
Yeah, and he could play in the backcourt the way he shoots the ball, 2 for 4 from three-point range, and continues that Maryland connection. Josh Boone, the freshman from Maryland, played in the same AAU organization, and UConn. It always feels good when you're Rudy. I said, what's it like to sign with a team who's going to play in the Final Four? He says, man, I just wish I was there right now.
Check in with Tim McCormick. He's with the special guest.
Thanks a lot, Dave. Jason Williams was the featured speaker, was the Morgan Wooten Award his senior year in high school. Some of the kids said it was the best message they've ever heard. Can you share with our audience what you told them?
Well, it's just a message that, you know, sometimes in life, it's not always a straight road. Sometimes it can take a right turn on you, and just for them to be prepared and not think just about basketball, but think about the bigger game of life and just be prepared in case something goes wrong.
You had the tragic motorcycle accident. How is your health? What's the timetable? Will we see you back in the NBA?
Well, I think I'll definitely be back in NBA. I think my timetable is anywhere between this year coming up and next year. I'm not going to try to rush it, but something that's sure going to happen. Any thoughts on the Final Four on who you think may win it? I'm biased. So, of course, you put me in my position to say my team, but I think every team has a great chance to win.
Your favorite memories of being a McDonald's All-American?
Well, I can score. Scoring is the thing I love to do, but being honest, I love coming out here and watching stuff like Sebastian. Just for passing the ball and getting everybody involved and just trying to be a winner. I like leaders, and I think he's that kind of kid.
Jason, I'm a huge fan of yours, and I know that you'll be back. We all wish you a lot of luck.
Thank you so much.
All right, Dave, back to you.
All right, and meanwhile, DeMarcus Nelson, who will go to Jay Williams' alma mater, Duke, is at the line. He's quietly having a pretty good game, Doug, 17 points. As you look at Telfair's numbers.
Yeah, and Telfair has not shot the ball well, but has distributed the rock. Nelson, a kid who's a combo, but could get a chance to be the starting point guard at Duke next year, him and Sean Dockery, because there's a lot of rumors that Sean Livingston will enter the NBA draft, quite possibly a top 3 selection.
Nelson from Sacramento, and some think he's the highest profile recruit from that area since Kevin Johnson, or even back to Bill Cartwright.
Yeah, pretty good hoop up there in Sacramento, kind of a quiet little area in the great state of California. Tim McCormick trying to ruin our booth.
Mike Williams fouled on the shot. Williams is signed with Texas. He's going to get a couple of free throws.
Guys, having a chance to talk to Jason Williams, I just can't imagine who would be a more powerful speaker for these kids. They were absolutely mesmerized at his message, and it's such a good example. He spoke about education and that they never know where things will go in their life. Remember, A lot of these McDonald's All-Americans are hyped now, but 10 years from now, they won't be in the league, and they'll be looking at the next 40 years of their life without basketball.
He, along with his girlfriend, Noelle, we sat at the same table with Coach Wooten, and it was amazing to hear not just about the injuries he sustained, but some of the depression he went through and how he's fighting back and rehabbing twice a day. A terrific story, and a guy who, look, I don't know if he'll be back on an NBA basketball floor. The guy's going to be a success. He has his head on right. He's got his degree, by the way, in 3 years from Duke University. Does that say enough about him?
All right, let's talk a little strategy. We have the West team down 30. What do they need to do to make a comeback?
Well, first of all, who put these teams together? That's what I want to know. You got Dwight Howard, Al Jefferson, Josh Smith, J.R. Smith, Sebastian Telfair, Randolph Morris, all on the same basketball team.
Well, I want to say this because you ripped my defense comment earlier. Yeah. You're the one that said the smaller, quicker guys would win this game, didn't you?
Actually, it's called geography. This is the West versus the East. And Detroit is considered West in this game. And there's Crawford from Detroit.
Wait a second. Malik Hairston's also from Detroit, and he's on the West.
Yeah, so is Crawford.
He's from the West side.
The West side of Detroit.
Howard. Will stay East basketball.
You know, as we're complaining about all the high school kids, I guess you'd have to say that there have been some pretty darn good players. I could coach in the NBA with this group and win a few games.
And maybe those guys right there are among the top 8 or 9 players in the NBA period.
J.R. Smith continues to impress. Boy, I'm Roy Williams. I'm turning off the TV as well. It will be a long night in Chapel Hill after watching the McDonald's All-American game, whether he'll attend college.
25 points for J.R. Smith in this game. And there's Doug's top 5 players recently college to the NBA.
I'll take that team and compete against your team any day.
I would think that your team would win.
Now, here's my thought a little bit. Sebastian Telfair. I think he's the most intriguing name of the guys that can enter the draft because he has the talent and the potential. But you look at his game, and you mean to tell me you take him ahead of Jameer Nelson, ahead of Ben Gordon, ahead of Devin Harris, ahead of even Lionel Chalmers or Timmy Bowers from Mississippi State?
You know who he's like a little bit?
But you didn't answer the question.
I would. No, absolutely not. I'm with you. A nice delivery to the rim. The thing about Telfair, he reminds me a lot of DeJuan Wagner. Different position, but sort of an exciting prospect. He's got a huge reputation, and you just think that he was born to be a star. So somebody's going to take him. I promise you that.
Well, he's just got that incredibly explosive first step, like a TJ Ford. I think that's a guy I would more compare him to because Ford also struggled with his jump shot. But any guy who can get past his man, create space, get in the lane, and has the vision that he does, is, you know, if you teach him how to run a team, he can be a tremendous, tremendous player.
Smith is now 5 for 10 from three-point land. On the other end, Crawford now with 14 points for the West squad. But
I think the problem, the shots that J.R. Smith misses, he doesn't hold his follow-through because he's trying to grab his shorts and keep them from falling on the ground.
I think you're just jealous because your shorts when you played the McDonald's All-American game were so much shorter.
Yeah, those things didn't move.
If my shorts would have fallen down even a little bit, I could have been arrested.
26-point lead for the East. Here's the pass from Hairston. And the finish by Crawford. Teammates at Renaissance High School in Detroit. Hairston undecided. Crawford has committed to Kentucky.
Well, Hairston could end up at UCLA, Ohio State, Kansas, or just down the road at the University of Oklahoma.
If I'm looking to compare him to someone who I think he could become, highlight this, Steve Smith, also from Detroit, long guy, very skilled, and you may say, well, he doesn't shoot like Steve. On that team right there at at Renaissance High School, Pershing is where Steve Smith was from. On that team, he wasn't asked to do a lot. They've got 2 McDonald's All-Americans. They shared the job. I think that he could become a major star like a Steve Smith.
Crawford, 16 points. Make that 15 for Crawford. East in command. More for the McDonald's All-America game after this.
Tonight on Sports Center, who will be the kings of the West? Why Okafor's injuries might be a good thing, and how bad is it in Beantown? Plus, heavy hitters you don't know. Sports Center after the game, ESPN.
I'm loving it. What's the deal? Why the grins and eager faces? It's too early for the normal social graces. Is it my smile, my look, or what I say? I'm not complaining, things are going my way, yeah.
Get things your way with breakfast at McDonald's. With great tasting favorites like the classic Egg McMuffin or the hearty Sausage McMuffin with egg.
McDonald's, the best way to start my day. I'm loving it.
Is your dandruff on full blast? Turning people off? Garnier Fructis Fortifying Anti-Dandruff Shampoo. Created with Parithione zinc, it blows dandruff flakes away. It's proven. The Garnier Fructis system makes hair up to 5 times stronger and so much shinier. So effective, no flakes, guaranteed. Kiss those flakes goodbye. For hair that shines with all its strength, Garnier Fructis Fortifying Anti-Dandruff Shampoo.
Garnier.
I'm going all out, crushing like Barkley. Feel the force and the power of my energy. It's like a sunstorm, a straight cyclone, setting the world on fire like a hole in the ozone.
The past meets the present. Introducing the new Nike 20 collection. Nowhere but Foot Locker.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of the McDonald's Boys High School All-American Game is presented by McDonald's and in part by Garnier Fructis for hair that shines with all its strength.
(109-84). East leading the West here at the McDonald's High School All-America Boys Game, the 27th game. We're in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma at the Ford Center. Dave Pasch alongside former McDonald's All-American Tim McCormick and Doug Gottlieb coming up next on ESPN Sports Center. That's immediately following us. Stuart Scott and Scott Van Pelt will be bringing you Sports Center following us here on ESPN.
And Scott Van Pelt, a proud Maryland alum. And remember, Maryland is the only team since, what, 1979 to win a national championship without a McDonald's All-American.
How about Stuart Scott's guy, J.R. Smith, going to North Carolina? Smith, maybe the MVP in this game as Jefferson throws it down. Off the feed from Aflalo. Make that Rondo with the pass. Rondo is committed to Kentucky. Let's take a look again at the players in this game that could go right to the NBA.
On this list, Dwight Howard is the only guy that needs to go to the NBA. Josh Smith would be better off in college, but he is gone. I believe Sebastian will be as well. Al Jefferson is a big body. He needs to work on low post moves. LaMarcus Aldridge, I think that he has to go to Texas, but I do think he's gone. Sean Livingston could play in the NBA. He is as ready as any other player other than Howard. And Randolph Morris is very skilled, but he is not as overpowering. And I still think that Randolph Morris should make a call between Kentucky and Georgia Tech.
I think the big question is, you're a general manager or you're a head coach, more importantly. Do you go to your general manager, do you go to your team owner and say, listen, if you draft this young guy, he has tremendous potential. Do I have to play him, or do you understand that it's going to be 2 or 3 years before there's a payoff? Because you look at the Bulls, perfect example. These guys, Tyson Chandler, Eddie Curry, played for 3 coaches, 2 general managers. And you know what? If they become players next year, they're free agents the year after that. They're gone. They're on another team, and the Bulls are who developed them.
What you're doing is babysitting for 3 or 4 years, and then they move on to another place. I'm a big proponent that if you even go for 1 year, you'll be a better pro long term. And a couple other guys that might have gone. Marvin Williams is going to college, but he said that he can't rule out a jump completely. Something freaky could happen. He said he's 99% sure, just like Michael Jordan was. Robert Swift, another name.
Well, Jordan said that 2 or 3 times. As Hairston finishes with a left hand.
Maybe it's a North Carolina thing.
Beautiful feed by Farmar. And I really believe this, Tim, that I know you're a big fella, played at Michigan, played in the NBA. But in college basketball these days, if you don't have a point guard to get you into your offense, to break down the pressure defense, you look across the board, teams that are lacking success in the NCAA tournament or even getting in the NCAA tournament don't have guys like Farmar, like Rondo, or like a Telfair.
You could get to a Final Four with Jordan Farmar, and when you look at the Final Four, the one common thread they all have is outstanding backcourt play. Every team, they are just rock solid with their guards.
Don't forget Sports Center coming up in 2 minutes. Scott Van Pelt and Stuart Scott as Smith tries again from deep. That one in and out. That was about 5 feet past the McDonald's logo.
Well, he better get those out of his system, because I'm guessing that if he goes and plays for Roy Williams, you won't see him shoot from that far behind the line.
Is there anybody, guys, that you've seen tonight, excluding J.R. Smith, that maybe now has a case of going straight to the NBA that perhaps didn't have a case before the game?
No. Just a simple no.
But you would say that Smith has a case.
On the other hand, I would say there are some guys that you would have thought coming into the game would play with incredible intensity, and we've just seen them go through the motions. Randolph Morris comes to mind. He's had a nice performance, but because he's a big guy, we don't see him get the basketball. It's a guards game. Have we really seen Sebastian Telfair get to shoot the ball? And I know you play to your strengths, but that's the big question. How does he shoot the ball from the perimeter? So those are some guys, and I think Jefferson, who is tremendously talented and had a great week of practice, hasn't shown us a ton. Again, big guys in the All-Star.
But the difference is that with Al Jefferson, he's a man-child. Yep. He's so big and so much stronger. Playing in a low division of high school basketball in Mississippi, he caught the ball, turned. He caught the ball, turned, and dunked. He's never really had a chance to play against big guys. When he gets to the NBA, he needs to have an up and under, a McHale move, a couple secondary moves to set himself up. Right now, he doesn't have that. At Arkansas, he could develop it.
Corey Brewer, who we have not talked about a lot, gets fouled. Brewer has signed with Florida. State high jump champ as a sophomore. Great defensive player has been compared to Kerry Kittle.
They're really similar, actually, to James White, who, remember, left Florida and is now at Cincinnati, but long, athletic, and Florida, a team that just has so much talent, but they have to find guys that are going to buy in, play defense, play team basketball, and he's a guy who does just that.
All right, guys, we got 50 seconds left. Cast your vote for MVP. Who do you think?
It's a tough call.
Wasting time.
Well, you go first then.
Taking J.R. Smith. I mean, he's played with enthusiasm. He shot the ball well from the outside. Yes, he's cherry-picked or snowbirded. It depends on what part of the country you want to go with the vocabulary.
There's a list of players that went straight from high school, winning the McDonald's MVP award, to the NBA the following season. Their numbers in this game. Well, 25 points for J.R. Smith, 19 points for Dwight Howard. Al Jefferson with a double-double, 16 points, 10 rebounds.
I think that the most impressive player in this game was Dwight Howard. He was athletic. He played both ends of the court. I just thought that JR shot a little bit too deep, and his shot selection was very poor.
Can't believe the guy's being held on the MVP award for shot selection in an All-Star game.
And he made 5 of them from 30 feet. I mean, it's not like he went 1 for 12. He went 5 for 10. The 3 goes for Mike Williams. So we got 5.9 left. The question is, who's going to get a dunk? DeMarcus Nelson.
We saw that in the dunk contest yesterday.
Very, very similar.
And Aflalo almost makes a half-court shot as the 2004 McDonald's All-America high school boys game comes to a close with the East team winning 126-96. Sports Center follows us here on ESPN. Lakers are red hot. Talk more about that. How good can Kevin Brown be? And Cowboy up.
The Oklahoma State Cowboys getting ready for the Final Four with no McDonald's All-Americans.
Well, the McDonald's All-America game, guys, was dominated by the East team, and we talked about Howard. We talked about Morris, Telfair, Josh Smith. Anybody else, Doug, that really impressed you on the West team in this game tonight.
I really like Sean Livingston. I just like his ability to run an offense, and he's a guy, whether he goes to college or goes to the NBA, I think he's a player because of his feel, because of his size, and because of his willingness to do the little things. He's just tremendous. That's why he's been successful through high school, and I just love a guard who just knows how to play. You can't teach those things as a coach.
It's amazing how recruiting has changed nowadays. When you recruit players, you're not only recruiting against other colleges, but you're recruiting against the NBA for guys like Sean Livingston.
Yeah, some coaches have. And one criticism, matter of fact, Tubby Smith, the head coach of Kentucky, criticized in chat rooms and message boards because Kentucky has not, until this year, recruited McDonald's All-Americans recently. But
I just can't feel anything but sadness because I don't think he's a bad guy. I think he's a really good guy that made a mistake. Unfortunately, he made a bad mistake.
I think there's probably some sympathy for him, but I think that sympathy probably ends at the dead body on the floor.
Sports Century, Casey Stengel, Monday.
Raycom Sports and Jefferson Pilot Teleproductions present exclusive live coverage of Atlantic Coast Conference basketball. Tonight, live from the Dean Smith Student Activity Center in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, the Maryland Terrapins take on the University of North Carolina Tar Heels.
Get a look at the matchups here. It'll be interesting to see. Steve Hale is a very good defensive player. We've got Bias and Wolf matched up there, but I'm just wondering if maybe Steve Hale won't match up a bit with Len Bias. The guard play is going to be very important tonight. Gatlin, first assist that he gets tonight will break the all-time Maryland record. North Carolina has done obviously a very good job in the series, but those series records don't mean very much.
Don't mean anything right now. Of course, up in College Park, North Carolina won it coming from behind. They were down 9 with 11 minutes to go, and they won it by 4. Bias against Doherty in the center circle, and it's Hale for North Carolina. This is Kenny Smith. We're trying to set the players for you, in case you're not already familiar with them.
Maryland starts in the man-to-man defense.
Hale to Kenny Smith, guarded by Gatlin.
You can see a matchup problem for Maryland. Derek Lewis has to go against Steve Hale.
Doherty, turnaround jump shot won't go. Lewis with a rebound. Lewis and Len Bias tied for the rebounding lead on a Maryland team. Doherty, the leading rebounder for Carolina. This is Keith Gatlin, who will break the all-time career assist record with his first assist. And the loose ball ahead to Hale. Goes in against Baxter and scores. Carolina takes the lead.
Mike, North Carolina shoots an extremely high percentage from the floor, and one of the reasons is that their defense creates shots like that.
Right now, they are shooting as a team 57.8%. If they can hold that to the end of the year, that would be #1 all-time for a season. This is Baxter against Lebo, a matchup that worked very, very well up in College Park. And Bias with a rebound and the follow. Lewis got a hand on it, but Hale with a loose ball.
Hale's matched up against Bias. He didn't block him out the first time, but he went right to him and got him the second time.
Doherty low against Long, had it partially blocked, but there's going to be a foul inside. Terry Long slaps at the basketball.
Maryland's strength is not their center position, either offensively or defensively, and North Carolina is going right after Terry Long. Brad Doherty has a pretty good size advantage in there. Doherty's playing very well, so it's a good idea to go to him, and Carolina's done it early.
Doherty goes to the free throw line. The young man, a senior, listed at 6'11" and 3/4. One of the few Carolina players who is not a terrific free throw shooter, only hitting 69.5% this year.
He may be the only guy in the country who's 3/4.
That's right.
You know, really, 6'11", 7 feet. What's his
and everybody questions that measurement, too. Here's the full court press with a 3-0 North Carolina lead. They get it across to Lewis. Smith trying to deny the Gatlin the basketball. They don't want Gatlin to have it in his hand. Bias, the long strip as he went up, and the foul will go against Carolina. And it's going to be on Joe Wolf for reaching in.
Good aggressive move inside by Terry Long. North Carolina is matching Steve Hale up against Len Bias. but it's obvious that as Bias comes off those low screens, Wolf and Doherty are trying to give help. Good job by Maryland to occupy Wolf and Doherty on that occasion.
Long, the junior out of Glen Allen, Virginia, is also not a good free throw shooter. Not as good as Doherty, 59%, although he's got a nice rotation on the ball and got a roll on that. Maryland on the boards for the first time. 18:23 to go in the first half. It's Carolina 3-1. Long has to be a factor for this basketball team as the center. They don't expect him to score, but he's got to rebound and play defense.
Now here's Maryland on the made free throws. They're trying a full court zone press.
Here's Lebo, had such a great game in the first meeting. 9 out of 10 from the floor. He's guarded by Baxter. Inside, Wolf got away from Bias. Long bothered him though, and Lewis with a rebound.
Good ball movement by Carolina. Good defense by the Terps.
Gatlin goes baseline, partially blocked. The rebound goes to Long, blocked by Doherty. Long thought he had an easy 2 there, but Doherty had other ideas. Kenny Smith from outside. Rimmed out on him, Lewis with a rebound, and he is fouled by Steve Hale. Maryland doing an excellent job on the boards here early.
Maryland in the person of Derek Lewis. I don't think that anybody else has a defensive rebound, but Lewis, tough shot by Kenny Smith. Lewis in good position to get that rebound.
Tony Massenberg will check in for the first time, and Terry Long will come out to go to the Maryland bench. Massenberg, a freshman, from 6'8", 215 from Sussex, Virginia. This is Baxter working on Lebo. Now Baxter, as they try to double team wide open, gets it to Bias free for his shot and got it. Lenny Bias, the conference's leading scorer, puts Maryland on top for the first time, 4-3. And Doherty lost it, saved it. Hale keeps it in play. Kenny Smith picked up by Gatlin. Off to Hale, back to Doherty. Now, you don't see passing like that very often, do you?
No, you sure don't, Mike. Maryland was disorganized on defense to start. Lenny Bias thought they were still in a press. I don't think anybody